Hey there, this is Alex over at DuraLabel, and in this video I'm going to be giving you a basic overview of our LabelForge PRO program. In order to do that, I'm going to be utilizing the Label Designer module to show you how to create a forklift traffic sign. In order to do that, once you have LabelForge PRO open, you're going to want to click Label Designer in the top left. Next, we just need to select the size that we want to start with. For this example, we're going to actually stick with the 4x6 that it is by default. If you do want to adjust the width or the length, you are able to do that through here, but for this demonstration, we are going to leave that as is. So I'm just going to click Create New Label. Alright, after we've clicked on Create New Label, we're going to go ahead and begin working on the actual header. I'm going to click on this shape option, that way we get a square to work with. Ultimately we're going to turn this into a rectangle, but we have to start with the square for that. In order to create a rectangle out of this, I'm going to go into the object size and I'm going to make some changes to both the length and the width. I'm going to change this to 5.7 inches and then I'm going to adjust the width itself to be 1.25 inches. I'm going to make sure to center this itself, as that'll just give even spacing on both sides. And then I'm also going to bring this up a little bit higher as well. And in order to do that, I'm just going to go to this y-axis choice here, and I'm going to also set this to 0.15, that way it has even spacing throughout. The next thing that we want to do is we do want to change to the fill color of the square to be black, that way it contrasts with the yellow text that we're going to be adding on top of it. So I'm going to select the square again, go into this color palette, and then make sure this fill color on the left is black. Now, one thing that I like to do with my designs and with the shapes is I do like to have a sharper edge to the shapes that I use, so I'm going to turn this round feature off. In the actual preview of it, it's not going to be as easy to see, but sometimes I've noticed in some of the print results that you can notice those round edges, and I like the look of having a sharper edge personally. The next thing that we're going to do is actually add that caution text on, so I'll begin by clicking the ABC text. That'll create this little line of text here. If we double click that again, I'll be able to actually select it and type out caution. From here, there's still a couple things that I want to do. I want to increase the actual text size. I also want to change the font, and of course we need to change the color to yellow. I'll click back on that. That'll bring us back into this edit option, and I will change the font. For this, I want to use Hebo Black. It's one of the more bold fonts we have, so it's going to increase that visibility. I'm also going to change the font size to be 72 point, which will help for just kind of making it fit a little better within that header. Next, I'm going to recenter the actual caution checks just to show something really quick that we're going to make for adjustments and why I'm going to make these changes. So I'll click on the caution text, click back on this option for object order as well as align to label options, and I'm going to recenter it. You're going to notice that the caution is extending beyond the bounds of the label. Since we are using ABC text though, we are able to actually adjust the length of text that we are using. So I'm going to click on this object size and I'm going to readjust this length to be 5 inches. That way it fits a little better on everything. Now, again, I'll recenter it just so that once I do move it later, it's a little better centered, and I'll do some finishing touches as well on that end, but first we do need to make the text yellow as well. So I'll click on the paint palette, make sure we're on the text, select yellow. Currently you can't see it due to it matching the background, so we'll just kind of move this up, and we're going to find an area where it looks like it's pretty centered both top, bottom. It might not be perfectly centered in the middle, but again, I'm going to come back into this align to label, realign it just to make sure everything looks nice and centered. Next, we're going to actually add the forklift symbol as well as the text for the forklift traffic. Okay, let's go ahead and add the forklift traffic into the label. In order to do that, we're going to use ABC text once more, just like so. I'll double click again, highlight the text, and I'm going to type in forklift. And I want to add an extra line in this so that I can actually have traffic underneath it instead. I'm going to hit enter and I'll type in traffic. Okay, I want to do a little more formatting with this just to have some bolder text again, as well as potentially even resizing it and making sure that the F and the T are aligned both on this left-hand side. To make sure that they're both aligned really quick, we can go over here where we have 3 different options. Currently it's set to the center formatting, but we'll go ahead and set this to the left like I want for my design. I'm going to leave the font size at 48 points for this, And I'm going to change the font to that same Hebo black that we used for the caution. Similarly, you'll see this is currently going over the edges of the actual label. I'm going to adjust that really quick using this object size option again, and I'm going to be setting this to about 3.5 inches. Once I have that here, I'm just going to kind of move it over to the side a little bit. I'll be recentering some of this in a few, as well as adding a symbol and making sure those get centered as well together. To add a symbol into it, we're just going to click the symbols option here, and we're going to type in forklift. That way we can find a good forklift image to work with. I'll hit enter, and then this will give us some different options for the forklift category. The symbol that I'm going to use is this forklift symbol here. I'm going to then click insert, that way it goes into our canvas. I'm going to move this just to a rough spot for right now. I'll be centering it in a few, but I just want to kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. I do want to change the orientation itself of the forklift to where the forks are pointing to the left. In order to do that, we do have a mirror function in this object size that'll be able to do that for you. I also want to increase the size itself of the actual image, so we're going to do that here as well. I'm going to click lock aspect ratio, that way the length and the width, whichever one I'm clicking this plus for, it does affect both of them. I'll click that a couple times, kind of compare the actual size of the forklift to the text. Those are kind of similar. I like how that looks. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press the control button and click on the forklift traffic. That way I now have both items selected. I'm going to go back and we're going to actually align both these items to be centered together. So we're going to use this align selection. That way they're both centered to each other as opposed to necessarily the canvas itself. I might still make a couple changes to some of the spacing, but we're going to kind of see how everything looks. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to group these two together using this option in the very top left with the triangle and the circle. And now that I've done that, I'm going to try to center these just to get an idea of what that looks like on my side. So I think that looks pretty okay, but I do think I want to bring everything in just a little bit more. That way we don't have text or the forklift too close to the actual edge. I don't want that. So I'm going to deselect this and I'm going to bring these in. On my side, I'm using the keyboard to make these controls, but I'm just moving some stuff over, pressing the keys a couple times here, just to bring those in a little bit closer. That was a little bit too close, so I'm actually going to separate those out a little bit more. I'm going to go back and control click, group, and we're going to try to recenter, just to sort of see how that looks. Overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with that, so I'm going to deselect these again. That way they can be their own entities. If I want to change that forklift traffic in the future or make any changes to this, I still have that ability. For me, I'm happy with this result, so now it's time to print. I'll click on the print option here in the bottom right, make sure I'm selected the Toro Max printer that I'll be printing to, and I'll just hit print. Once your label's finished printing, you'll be able to apply it wherever you need. Hopefully you were able to learn a few things about how to use the LabelForge PRO software during this video. Thank you again for watching. My name's Alex, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks for watching. For further assistance, visit our website and contact our team for your free lifetime support.